Hey guys, today we're going to go over SwiftUI List. So SwiftUI List is comparable to UIKit's TableView. It can show TableView cells, but instead of creating like UI TableView cells on storyboard or zips or programmatically, we're just going to create view to use in place of the actual cells from UIKit. So we don't need to create any prototype cells at all. So and also by using SwiftUI List, we don't need to deal with UI TableView's data source and delegate protocols, and we don't need to worry about dequeuing cells for reusability. So SwiftUI List is basically SwiftUI's way of showing data on rows equivalent to a table view. So we'll go over an example on how to use SwiftUI List. Alright guys, let's get started with this tutorial on SwiftUI List. So first we're going to create our app. We're just going to call this SwiftUI List example. And for interface we're going to use SwiftUI, and for lifecycle just choose SwiftUI app. Click next, and then we're going to create our project. Okay, so wait for it to create our project. Alright, so it created our project. Let's switch it to our 12 Pro Max, and we're gonna see the preview. So this is your standard template that creating a new SwiftUI app gives you: a content view with the body of text "Hello World." So we're gonna, for this tutorial, we're gonna want to do a list. So let's create a new JSON file. We're gonna read from this JSON file. It's gonna be a JSON file of animals. So it's gonna be 3 different sections, and each of the sections are gonna contain some animals, and we're gonna show those animals on our list. So let's start by creating a new file under SwiftUI List example. So we're gonna create let's create an empty file. Select next. File, we're just gonna call it animal.json. Alright, so we have our animal.json. So I've already prepared some JSONs, but we'll go over it so you can kind of see what is in the JSON file. So I've pasted it here. So I've prepared a JSON file where in the file it's an array of different kinds of animals. So it's arranged in the way where this is a fluffy animal category, and each of the fluffy animal has an array called item. So for example, sheep is a fluffy animal. It has 4 legs, and speed we just give it 4. And panda, we also consider that fluffy animal. It has 2 legs and its speed is 4. And dog, it has 4 legs, speed is 8. And the next section is a swimmer category, same format. Fish, 0 legs, 2 speed. Shark, 0 legs, 8 speed. And the next one is a scary animal section. So we have a T-Rex, 2 legs, 8 speed. Wolf, 4 legs, 9 speed. And alligator, 4 legs, 6 speed. So in order to visualize this better, we can copy this and view it in our in this site that I like to use sometimes to visually view my JSON viewer.stack.hu. So we've copied that and we've pasted it here, and we go to a viewer, and then we can see 3 different sections, and each of the section has an ID and a name, and an array of items. So each of the items, you can see that there's the sheep, the panda, the dogs. So basically whatever what's shown in that JSON is kind of broken down into separate sections that we can see. So that's this section here, or this JSON file is represented by this visually. So we're gonna use this instead of making some API call to some servers to retrieve this. So we're just gonna have this this file locally in our project. Let's see what is going on here. Fail to build scheme. Why? Try again. Build for preview succeeded. Alright. Oh. Let's see what that error was. Actually, let's build it on our simulator so we can also see, like, okay, so there's our hello world, the default that came with our template with the hello world. And so far we've added animal.json. So okay, so we're gonna start in our content view, or actually we're gonna start by creating an animal object. So here we'll do a new file. We're gonna do a new Swift. Let's do a new Swift file for the animal. We're just gonna call this animal. So this is animal.swift. We're gonna import SwiftUI. Alright, so for the animal, we're gonna have animal's gonna be a struct. So animal, it's gonna be codable, equatable, and identifiable. Alright, so each animal is gonna have an ID and a name, and it's gonna have, each animal is gonna have legs, and each animal is gonna have speed, which are int, as our JSON file here depicts. So each one of these are animals. It's gonna have ID, name, legs, and speed. So it's represented by this. Okay, and in addition to that, so these are eventually going to be our individual rows. So in addition to that, we're going to have animal section, which is going to be each one of the separate section, which in this case of our animal.json, we have 3 different main sections: the fluffy animal section, the swimmer section, and the scary section. So in that, we're just going to create this animal section structure also inside of the animal.swift. It's closely related, and it makes more sense to just have it all in one file. So also going to conform to codable and identifiable. So again, let ID. So we have ID and name, and we also have let's call it items, because that's what we're parsing in the JSON. So each of the items are arrays of animals, as you see here. Each one of these under the section has items, and items are array of animals. So it's represented by this here. So okay, and we have a type alias. Type alias, we're gonna have animal sections, and animal sections is just gonna be array of animal section. All right, so array of these is just gonna, we can refer to it as animal sections. So that's all we need for the model of the animals and animal section. So now we can go back to our actually before we go back to our content view, let's create a helper first. The helper is gonna help us parse the JSON that we get and decode it into something that we can use. So let's create a new file. We're just gonna call this one helper. New Swift file. So we have a helper file. So we're gonna import UI kit. For this one, we're gonna have extension of bundle. So this extension is just gonna have one function called decode. We're basically this is gonna be our helper to help us decode the JSON file so that we get the type of item that we're expecting. So it will just help us do that. So decode, it's gonna be type T, which is decodable, and the parameters are gonna be type t.type from file is just gonna be a string. It's just gonna basically tell us where our file lives, and in the end we're just gonna return the type that we wish to decode. So we need to return T. Okay. So let's do guard let URL. So we're parsing we're trying to get the file and convert it to the URL. Self.url. We're gonna do the for resource with the extension. For resource is gonna be from the file with the extension nil. So this is a guard, so it has to be followed by else. Else we're just gonna crash, else fatal error. We're gonna say fail to locate file. Alright, so now if that makes it out, then we have value, then we have the URL value, and now we can check. We also want data from here, so we can do this. Let data. So we're trying to get data now from this URL. So let data equals try data contents of URL. So here it's gonna try to give us the data. Otherwise you can say fail to locate file or extract data, maybe extract data. Okay, and then so now we're gonna create a decoder. Decoder is gonna be JSON decoder, and then we're gonna have one more guard let loaded equals try decoder dot decode. So decoder dot decode from t.self from the data here. So now we're gonna try to get this object called loaded, which we're gonna get from our data. If we can't, then we're just gonna crash again, fatal error, fail to decode. At the end, if everything succeeds, if the function hasn't crashed out, so we're just gonna return loaded. So that's gonna return our that's just gonna return our type here. So that's it for this helper function. So that's basically all we need in order to get our app started for the SwiftUI list. So next we're gonna go to our content view, and so we're gonna replace this body. So instead of just text, we're gonna have a navigation view. So our navigation view, let's see, navigation view is gonna have a list. So list, we're gonna need these animals now. So let's create our animal variable. Let an animal equals bundle.main, that's where our file is, bundle.main.decode, which is our helper function that we just created from array of animal section. Let me remind the name. The name is called animal sections. All right. From animal sections.self, from our file which is called animal.json. From animal.json. All right. So it's gonna try to decode the animal.json into the animal sections objects. So from here, when we create our navigation view and we have a list, we should be able to display the sections for here. So now let's do a for each loop for each animal. We're gonna have for each animal section in. Alright, let me remove this, give myself a little more space. Okay, so for each of the animals, we're gonna, for each of the animal section, so we have our animal here, which is read from our animal.json, and it's decoded into animal sections. So for each of the animal sections, let's say we have a text, and then text, we're just gonna say the animal section name, animal section name. All right, so let's just do that for now, and let's run the app. Let's see what shows up. Okay, that's good. So at least all three of our sections showed up: our fluffy animal section, our swimmer section, and our scary section. But we just don't want to display those sections because we want to display all the animals inside of it also. So instead of the text, or in addition to the text, we're gonna have So instead of just the text, which is just displaying in a row, we're gonna make them section headers. So section header. Actually, it's called section. Completion is header and content. Oops, not that one. One is a header and content. Alright, so the section header is gonna be the text that we just created. Animal section name. Alright, so that's our section header, and for the items inside, we're gonna do another for each loop. For each animal section items. So for the items are the actual individual animal in, and then let's just say we're gonna display the text again, just the name. Let's do animal.name. Alright, let's run that. Should work. Okay, that actually looks pretty good, as expected. So we have the different sections. Fluffy animal section with sheep, panda, and dog, as we have here. Fluffy animal, sheep, panda, and dog. And we have swimmer of fish and shark. Let's see, where's our swimmer? Okay, swimmers of fish and shark, and the scary section of T-Rex, wolf, and alligator. Okay, so we have those 3 sections as expected. Let me resume this also so we can see it in this preview. Okay. But in addition to that, in addition to just displaying just the name, sheep, panda, dog, fish, shark, let's say we want to display more information, more like a custom cell in a UI kit equivalent. Let's say we want to also display the speed, the like how many legs the animals have. So we can create a custom view. So instead of just having a text animal name, we're gonna show the different view here. So let's create a new file. Create a new file. New SwiftUI view. So it's gonna be a view because these are gonna represent the rows that are gonna be inside of each of the cell. I mean each of the sections. So we're gonna save this one as let's call it animal row. All right. So our animal row. Let's just take it up here. Okay, so like the other ones, animal row is pre-populated with a template with a simple hello world. But instead of the hello world, we're gonna have a so slow. We're gonna have a H stack here, and we're gonna have a H stack. As a reminder, it's like is a stack that's gonna try to align our elements horizontally next to each other, and inside of this H stack we're gonna have a V stack. We're gonna have a V stack, and inside of the V stacks we're gonna have another H stack. So this H stack is going to be text. All right, let's have a variable called animal, which is going to be of type animal. So that will be passed in from the other view. So text, which is going to have animal name on here, and alright, so for now, let's replace our content view. Instead of text animal name, we're just gonna have animal row of animal. Alright, so we're gonna create an animal row, and we're gonna pass in the animal from here into animal row. So for animal row, we're gonna have this animal, and we're gonna display the animal name on here. So it's missing an argument for parameter in animal call, I guess, since because animal row needs an animal. So let's just pass some dummy animal in. Animal, we're gonna create an animal ID. It's gonna be like, let's say dragon name, dragon legs, let's say 2, speed 8. Alright, this is for preview purposes only. So here, animal row previews, it's just gonna be it's basically to satisfy our canvas. So our canvas can display something. Missing animal label. Okay. Alright, so that should fix our error. So we're building this on the simulator. Okay. So now instead of the text, I mean, it shows basically the same information, but now we're showing it instead of just a text element, in the rows, we're showing the actual animal row element. So when we modify the animal row to show various different styles, it's going to be reflected here. So let's look at our animal row again. Let's resume. Whoa. Here, let's try again. Missing something? I just noticed that I guess the preview and the simulator, they don't really run simultaneously. So it looks like it takes some time even to just generate the preview. Because I've created an animal object here. I passed it into the animal row. Okay, so here it is. Alright, so we have the animal name on here. And let's say in addition to the name, we want to display number of legs that the animal has. So text, so this is done ahead of time because HStack is gonna display the objects horizontally next to each other. So when I have it in the HStack here, it's gonna display the name, and when I have another text, let's just say legs. And legs gonna have animal dot legs. Alright, so when we do that, let's see a preview. So this preview is trying to update. For our preview, we said our animals have 2 legs, so I expect it to say like legs 2. So it's almost sometimes faster to run on the simulator. What's the reason? Unreasonable did not launch in 15 seconds. I guess it timed out. Alright, so let's just run it on the simulator. Okay, good. So it says sheep, which is the animal name, and next to it is the number of legs, 424,00244. So let's see if that's the case. 424,00244. Okay, so that's it displays what we actually wanted to display. So I think the tough part is done, or that we're able to decode the data, get the data that we want, and then we've able to kind of modularize the data into this animal row. So all the UI changes will be done here in this body, and the changes will be reflected inside of each of the rows. So that's basically it. So let's just do some quick modifications, and then that'll be the end of this tutorial. So for example, right now when we look at it, let's say we want the legs to be on the right and the name to be on the left. So we can add in between here a spacer. So if we add a spacer, now the text will be the text of the animal name will be on the left side, and the spacer will kind of push it apart, and the text for the animal legs would be on the right side. So that's that. And okay, so that's what we want. We have sheep and legs. Let's say we want to display the speed also. So I have an asset here. Let me just copy over. Let me find the asset. I downloaded it somewhere. Okay, so I have a random asset for speed here. So let's say we want to display this to indicate the animal speed. It's going to go back to our animal row, and for our speed, we're just gonna, let's see. All right, so that's a HStack. So speed, let's display it on the bottom, because we already have name and legs here. So when we want to display it on the bottom, that's why we have this V stack here to display it vertically. So we're gonna have an image, and our image name is speed and resizable, aspect ratio, content mode, we're gonna do fit, and we can assign it a frame if it's okay. Let's not assign it a frame and see how it looks, and then we can assign it a frame to kind of fix it when the looks is not right, like how we want it. So we're building. Let's just get a drink here. All right, so that's our name, our animal name, our number of legs, and the image that we're drawing vertically. So obviously I don't think that's what we want. So that's when we're gonna adjust the frame. We can do width is 20, height is 20, alignment, we can just keep it at center. All right, dot center, and then we're gonna run it again. So now the image is gonna be 20 by 20 with the alignment in the center. All right, so that's what we have: sheep, legs, and 1. So let's say by this look, we can't really tell which animal is faster than another. So what we want to do is we want to display, like, if the sheep speed is 4, we're gonna want to show 4 of those icons, and if the dog speed is 8, we're gonna show 8 of those icons. This is maybe to kind of help us visualize, like, which animal is like faster than others. So instead of this, we're just gonna comment this out because that's only displaying one image. So we're gonna, let's say we're gonna have another H stack because we're gonna want to display these images horizontally next to each other. So another H, because if we don't put in another H stack, it's gonna try to just line them up vertically because it's already stacked up in the V stack. So we're gonna have a H stack, and we're gonna have a for each loop. For each, let's do 0 to animal speed. So we're gonna go over this animal speed time. So if it's 8 speed, we're gonna go over this 8 times. So in each of these loops, we're gonna have an image that we actually, let's just undo this. Let's just cut it, paste it here. So instead of only one image, we're just gonna show that image like the speed amount of times. So we're gonna run this, and then okay, so I think that is maybe what we want. So sheep, legs, sheep is 4 speed. So actually let's compare that to the JSON so we can kind of see that this is what we want. So sheep has 4 speed, 4 legs, panda has 2 legs and 4 speed, dog has 4 legs and 8 speed, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and shark has 0 legs, 8 speed, fish has 0 leg and 2 speed under the swimmer category. And under the scary category, T-Rex, wolf, alligator. Wolf has 9, a little bit more with 4 legs. So yeah, so that's basically just creating the rows, and it looks a little empty here, so I guess we can add a navigation title in our content view, and that should be the end of this tutorial. So here to add the title, the navigation view, we just add it to here. So we just say dot navigation title. And for the title, we're just gonna call this animals. Again, run this one more time. So we have. Alright, so here's our title, and when we scroll up, the title goes here. And so that's basically the end of this tutorial. You have your fluffy animal section, you have all the animals, swimmer section, all the animals, and scary section and all the animals. So what we did was we added in our animal.json file to be used to represent our data that we're gonna need. We create the animal structure, the animal section structures, and a type alias called animal section. And for the animal row is our design of what each of the rows will look like. We'll have the text for name, we'll have the legs, and we're showing the image for speed, that amount of time that the animal has speed. And this is just the part of the template that tells you we're going to display a content view as the first view. And for the content view, we have an animal object that is used, so that and then we have a navigation view, and inside the navigation view we have a list. And so each of the lists we have not each of the lists, we only have one list, but on the list we have an animal that's from this file. Then we separated the animal into different sections, and each of the sections we have different rows to represent each of the animals. And we configure the navigation title in this tutorial. So guess that's it for this tutorial. Actually, maybe we can do one more thing. Like if you want to actually click these rows and have them go to a different screen, we can replace here the animal row. We can replace the animal row with let's call it navigation link. So we're gonna have our destination is gonna be text. So we're gonna kind of just push it to a screen with just a text called destination ... and then we're just gonna have the animal row here. So that should essentially be the same. So run the project one more time. So instead of just animal row, we're gonna have a navigation link, so that once you tap it, it's gonna take you to a view that just shows the text view called destination. So here we see this little navigation link indicator. So once we tap here into dog, so here we go to a view that just shows destination, which is what we have here. We go back and click panda. So that's kind of navigating back and forth. I mean, obviously we can design another view, like let's say we want to pass the animal along and show the details, we can do that there. But I think that's enough for this tutorial, because our main goal was just to kind of display the list, show how to configure the views inside of the list. And that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.